Damn, I love that audio. It's so good. Chris Gard Mordecai did that for me for you guys in the chat that didn't know that. And he just announced that he and his wife are pregnant. So go give him some love on Twitter and everything like that. But, well, we are gathered here with my good friend Sixer here, a gentleman of power. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, doing well. Happy to be off work. Looking forward to some Thursday night football tonight, and excited for the stream, my man.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, we got the idea to do this because we were just having one of our, based conversations on the side as we, tend to do. And we thought to ourselves, we were kind of joking about like, some girls like in our friend group and stuff like that. And what quantities they have or qualities, I should say, as women. And we got this funny idea, like grading women like a D&D character sheet, like an RPG scale or some shit like that. So we thought it would be a funny idea to get together and do this. So this is gonna be tons of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And and just to clarify, the conversation initially was about one of our mutual friends who doesn't cook, doesn't clean, doesn't put out for her boyfriend, who we both know, pretty much would be zeros all across the board, except at least she isn't fat. Um, So more or less, this was kind of birthed from the idea of quantifying all of her qualities with a big fat zero. So I am looking forward to going through talking about what each of us value. What are the essentials? What are things we like, and then what are things that, eh, could take it or leave it, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of like a skin in a game. It's like getting that blue camo in Modern Warfare 2 back in the day. That's really sick. Doesn't really matter, but it's cool to have. So anyway.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Funnily enough, those of you who see our Twitter rows back and forth, between you and me, will know that we're in a D&D campaign together. And funnily enough, hold on, let me pull up my other screen here. I actually have a character sheet up on the other screen here, and it could be funny too. All right, so let's see here. Like, let's see if just for sake of the argument, like if we had a chick here, let's say I don't know, we got our multiple skills here in D&D, like if we were to grade like a woman on the scales of like what's absolutely essential or something like that, I guess we could put it at the top, you have your set amount of points in Dungeons and Dragons. You can't max all the way across the board, so to speak. So what do you think about like, our main six qualities here in D&D, but what do you think the main six would be? Like something out of like a chicker?
So number one, I think housekeeping has to be one. That's cooking, cleaning, etc. Things of that nature. Number two, obviously looks. That really should be number one. Has to be one. And then they can be, again, not being fat, the main part. And then if they're curvy as well as not fat, you can get into the high pluses, so to speak. So you got attractiveness, housemaking, um, fitting within your frame, which is almost something you have to do. So I don't
Well,
know if
yeah.
that's really a quality we can attribute to them. But those three stand out to me immediately. I don't know if any others pop into your head immediately.
Well, I think we have to establish right at the front that, looks, I don't want to say the most important thing, but the thing that gets you in the door. Like if you don't have those down, then, everything else just isn't even going to be looked at. You
Yeah,
could be
it's
like
it's the foundation of the house. A house has to have a strong foundation. Now, the foundation isn't the only thing you look at, but it's a necessary prerequisite. And I think
y-
we have had many a conversation that looks is the foundation.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. If you, sadly, all the propaganda, says like, to women that, no matter how bossy you are, nobody, like independent you are, and how much money you make, and how much you clean, all that stuff. It's like, if you don't have your looks in order, if you're still like a fat sow, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, yeah, I think that pretty much all men are in agreement there. Whether they'll admit it or not, that's just the way it is. Um, so yeah, definitely looks are the foundational, and then I think the next thing, at least in terms of relationship, rather than the hookups you have to get into, is the homemaking. Is she
Yeah,
going to clean? Is she going to cook? Is she going to take care of those feminine responsibilities at least to a solid degree?
yeah, yeah. I think it's important for us to establish at the start here that we're basically going to be limiting this conversation to long term prospects, not just uh, for plate spinning or banging purposes, because a lot of these qualities just immediately go out the door if you just want to get your rocks off, as it were.
Yeah, then it comes down to looks and gag reflex at that point. So I we wouldn't really have a whole hour of discussion. So yeah,
Well,
I think
yeah,
we need to
yeah.
keep it to dating purposes for that reason.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, yeah, so we tackled our looks out of the way, and we did a previous stream, which is ironically one of the more popular streams we've ever done on Man's Hour. It's always funny, like you guys, you always watch the ones where we're covering, tits and ass and stuff like that, not the ones about based historical moments or Western movies. It's just we got to talk about the girls.
Sex sells, my man. Sex
Oh
sells.
yeah,
Also, it might
yeah.
have something to do with me being on it. Not sure, but
Oh, highly
that's
unlikely.
the
No,
correlation we're
no,
going
no.
with
It
now.
absolutely couldn't be. It's just correlation does not equal causation. Not in the slightest. So, anywho, yeah, and we discussed like our preferences on looks and stuff like that on the previous stream that you and I did together a couple weeks back, and but yeah, so let's say you got your looks in order, and actually. Well, I don't need to bring up the character sheet again, but you can't have max in all stages, but let's say like, you get like I know in D&D the number is 20, but just for the sake of argument, we'll go with 10. So let's say like your chick is like an 8 on the looks for something, and she has like a bonus and some of the other, and she's proficient in like dishes and cleaning and homemaking and stuff like that. As long as you get over like a certain threshold with the looks, that's fine. You don't
Dude,
need to be like a smoking 10.
yeah, well, my position now as I've gotten older, and I've told you and the rest of the guys in our group this, which is it's not a scale of 1 to 10 for looks anymore. It's 0 or 1. Are they hot
Oh
enough
yeah,
for you
pretty
to date
much.
and spend time with, or are they not?
Yeah, it's 100% true.
Yeah, it's the scale of 1 to 10 is fun whenever you're just trying to like talk with the boys about how hot a girl is and all this stuff. Whenever you're showing pictures of your conquests and all that. But whenever you're looking to date, like if you find her hot, okay, there's the foundation, and if not, okay, don't even bother looking at the house. Um,
Yeah, exactly. Hot or not,
yeah,
essentially, yeah, at the
yeah,
end of the day.
absolutely. And a lot of the time that boils down to, some things which is just God given. Do you have a pretty face or not? Some people are just fucked there. Can't do anything about it. But far more often it is, are you fat or not? Which is obviously largely within the control of the individual.
Yeah, no pun intended, of course. But
I
yeah,
didn't even catch that.
yeah, and I feel like that's the big stereotype is like if you're not the Victoria's Secret model, then you're never gonna get picked, and it's just absolutely not the case. Like honestly, at this point for me, if a chick is just not extremely needy, and not, I guess you could call it like if you're just a benefit to my life. Like you don't make my life more difficult. You don't make me like have to worry about like whatever the fuck is going on with you. Like if some drama, you're not bringing drama into my life. That is honestly like worth 1 or 2 points on the hot scale at this point. It's you know I just fucking hate dealing with drama. I can't stand it.
Now that you bring it up, I think that, if we're talking about major things, I do think the ability not to be fucking annoying has to be one of them. It's so undervalued.
Yeah,
It's
very much
it's I
so.
mean, we've talked, ad nauseum about my current relationship, which is more of a long-term relationship.
Yeah, I like your
And the
girl.
best thing
Yeah.
about it is if I want to see her, I text her to come over. If I don't, I say have a great night. And I never get the fucking why don't you want to see me? Blah blah. I never get the passive
Mm,
aggressive, oh now you want to
yeah.
hang out with me. No, she fucking understands that I'm an adult, that I'm in a high stress, high reward career, and then I got to deal with shit sometimes, or sometimes I just want to, hang out and stream with the boys, or you know, play poker with the boys, drink with the boys, etc. And that is in fucking valuable. This is the reason why I have not gotten sick of her like I did with my last long term relation. Well, that girl you didn't never liked anyway, but she fucking
Oh
just
yeah,
couldn't
yeah. I didn't
go
like
couldn't
her.
go 60
No.
minutes without getting a text from me, and
Oh,
that's
God,
just
yeah. Yeah, she was a
absolutely
nightmare. Yeah,
yeah.
your previous one, your previous chick sucked. It's just, but yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because like your current girl, and I've mentioned this to you many times before, and also we have just like different tastes in women and stuff. I don't think your current girl is the most attractive girl that you've been with, but she's now become my favorite one that you've dated just because she is like a pleasant and a joy to be around. She's not a heartache. She gets along well with other people. Um, you know, also like your girl's really, really good at speaking when she needs to speak, which is such an like
She
undervalued
knows when
quality
to
to have.
shut the fuck up.
Yes, yes, yes. It's such an
It's
amazing quality to have.
so Patrice O'Neill-esque for, I know and anyone who's listening knows. He talks about the value in women knowing when to shut the fuck up and listening if they're told to shut the fuck up. And she knows how to do it really, really well. I do want to go back to something you said. You think I believe it's the second long term relationship I had, the taller girl who you
Yeah,
were referring to.
yes.
You think she's the most attractive. Now, this is where we differ. And this would go into what we would individually want to put points into the attractiveness scale. So that girl that you're referring to, pretty flat chest, long legs, and nice ass though.
Mm,
Whereas current girlfriend, not a flat chest, but she's short. Which for
hmm.
me, even as a very tall man, dude, I fucking love
Yeah,
a
you're
nice
like
like
yeah, you're
five
like
foot two, 5'3". Being a full foot taller than the
mm,
bitch I'm with is fantastic. And it's funny to me that you find the previous girl so attractive when she's like 5'10", pushing 5'11". She's like an inch
I've
shorter than you.
I've always liked taller girls, man. I don't know what it is, man. Like I like the longer legs, and that current girl that we're referring to as well. Like yeah, you know me, I've always liked the blondes, always liked blondes, and
That's
so
very true, and I tend to as well. I think blonde is objectively the best, unless you get a smoking redhead. But
yeah,
those are
yeah,
few and far between.
yes, very much so. Yeah, redheads are redheads are something else, man, for sure.
Dude, often tens and twos.
Oh
Redheads
yeah.
are.
Yeah, very yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, so back to our discussion on God, we're basically just like rallying past chicks at this point, but yeah, like your girl right now, very, very good job at staying quiet when she needs to. And that kind of comes from like because she's like a naturally kind of like a shy girl, and which is always good. But yeah, very underrated quality. I think a big portion of this, where it's coming from guys, is that no matter what anyone says, no matter our patriarchal culture, leftist indoctrination, whatever the fuck it is, it's just a fact that everyone just views the woman as an extension of the man. And if your girl is behaving badly, everyone just immediately assumes it's your fault, and it's a poor reflection on you. A perfect example that we can give for this is
I know exactly where you're going. Go
well, we,
right ahead. I
well,
know
we,
exactly where the fuck you're going.
I don't know if you do actually. I was going to give like a celebrity example of Will Smith here. His legacy is forever tarnished because he's got a fucking whore for a wife and doesn't know how to handle it properly. Like it's not so much like the chick is going to get blamed for it. It's always just going to be the man. So if your chick is acting a fool, is getting loud and drunk at parties, just says stupid shit, it embarrasses you. It just always looks bad upon you. So I think
Oh,
that's a really big core thing that you got to be looking for.
Abso-fucking-lutely. That's not where I thought you were going, but that is 100%. You can be the most successful, good-looking, rich guy. Will Smith is a good-looking guy. He's rich. He's successful. He is one of my personal favorite actors ever. I thought many of his films are absolutely phenomenal. I think he can fulfill a variety of roles. But holy shit, he picked the fucking wrong woman, never had a frame, and now he's a laughing stock
Yeah,
for people
exactly.
who want, a based, healthy marriage relationship, and it's such a damn shame. Um,
Mm, yeah,
it's really amazing how somebody who has everything else in their life in order, if they don't have a frame, can just look like that. It's
yeah. That's as misogynistic as it sounds to say, but it's just simple. The fact of the matter is that you have to keep your chick on a leash. There's just absolutely no way around it. Because if you don't, she'll just walk all over you and just rule everything, and it will always just look bad upon you, no matter what anyone says.
Well, I think that is 100% on point. Um, and it goes to show you can have a woman who will come over, clean your place when you're not there, do A, B, C, X, Y, Z thing. But then if she steps out of line and you don't handle it the right way, your whole relationship turns upside down. And that is what I'm referring to with another one of our friends who might end up listening to this stream, but I've talked to him ad nauseum about this. His
Yeah.
girl, she was in keeping with the theme of RPG scaling, you know, decently attractive girl, very good homemaker, would clean his apartment
Mm,
even if he
yeah.
wasn't there. Would often defer to him, would pick up on his hobbies, spend time with him, but not be obnoxious about it. By and large, we both love this girl. And then she fucking buys a house that he hates.
Oh,
It's
oh
they
yeah.
go under agreement for a house. He told her he hated it. He does not approve of it, and it's near her family, and she got roped into it, and now she's under agreement for it. And that's somewhere where we can throw out all these numbers, and they can be eights and nines and eights and nines across the board. They can still fuck it all up with one stupid fucking decision because she's just a little bit outside the frame.
Yeah, yeah. I know I've been way more harsh on this situation than you were with this because I thought this situation with family and this person we were talking about should have been nipped in the ass a long time ago, and it also it also really rubs me the wrong way when a chick is using like feminine manipulation, for lack of a better word, being like a really good chick for like 2 weeks prior to making this big announcement and just dropping it on you in your lap, and then yelling at you for not being on board with it. I'm like, ooh, you knew what the fuck you were doing. So that really cast some doubt in my mind about that current relationship.
Yeah, and I think that going off that brings up two potentially quantifiable qualities. One of which would be like a main stat, very important, and that is she still trying to get power? Is she a manipulative chick? Is she trying to win? Because if she keeps trying to win and you can't get her in your frame, and not everyone can, not everyone's capable of that. None of us are perfect with frame. If you get to that point, then again, regardless of her other traits, if that's low and she's going to keep chipping away at you, she's not worth it. I don't care if she cooks, cleans, sucks your dick, is in good health, is fit, is all that. If she keeps chipping away at your authority, that is a huge issue, and that
Yeah,
I think could be another like main high tier stat.
yeah, I would almost call that like neuroticism or something like that. Like if you're constantly having to, test and chip away at things and you just can't like take a break for 5 fucking minutes and it's perpetual like low level warfare in your household. No, you absolutely cannot be dealing with that in any way, shape, or form. And obviously, there's there's girls that are good with this stuff and there's girls that are not good with this stuff. And to an extent, you definitely can train people, especially women, out of these kinds of bad habits. But it basically comes down to what you want at that point. Do you really want to be putting in this kind of effort in the situation, or would you rather just cut your losses and go find somebody better? Where the grass is greener, so to speak.
Well, no, 100%. And that's what I told our friend. I was actually texting with him this morning, and I said, whatever you got going on this weekend, cancel your fucking plans. Go on your boat, get in your car, drive somewhere, do whatever you need to do.
Mm,
Take some time and think. Because when you have to decide whether you want to end a relationship, whether romantic, personal, or professional, take some time and think on it and then fucking do it. Don't waffle around, which Lord knows I've done in the past. We've all done it. You got to do a clean break. But before we move on, there is one other quality, and this would be a much more minor quality, which is healthy relationship with her family, because that
mm,
has to matter. And when I say healthy, I don't mean close, because you can
mm,
be healthy. Unhealthy can mean, well, my dad doesn't like my dad and I fight all the time, and my mom and I are fine, but my siblings and I hate each other. That's unhealthy. But it's also unhealthy to be at the point where I'm so close with my family. I don't want to
yeah.
spend New Year's or Halloween with you. I want to be with my family. I'm going to buy a house
Mm,
near my family. That is unhealthy. And all
yeah.
of those qualities
Absolutely.
add up. And I think those are the hardest qualities for frame to really break. I mean, we talked a little bit about
Yeah.
this on the phone earlier in the week. That family has had, at the age we're at, 25 years to build up a frame for this girl that she fits into, that she thinks she has to do X, Y, and Z with and for her family.
Yeah, I mean, it
Eh,
just goes
eh,
back to the old adage, like there's no good and bad, it's just trade-offs, like so
Yeah.
it's really good that this particular chick that we're talking about has a really like tight-knit and close family, and her family's great by the way. They're good people, and that, kept her on a leash to an extent, like she's not a hoe like to any extent, and stuff like that, but that is a trade-off on the other side. It's like, oh well, she wants to be around them all the time, and that's a really big problem, especially from a girl's perspective in the sense of when you choose to settle down with a man, like for a long term relationship or marriage prospects, that man becomes your family. Period. You have to put your man first, your family for like the family you want to create together first. Not your birth family by any means. And so yeah, this will be very interesting to see where this current situation goes. But again, man, it's just trade offs. You can't max out on all stats as we were saying.
Yeah, yeah, it is a damn shame, but we will see what comes up with that. Um, I
Yeah.
get well,
So
go ahead.
speaking of like families, I think another one that both of us agree on is does your chick have what's like the behavior of her friends? So
I
and
I was about to bring us here because we talked about this earlier.
Yeah, very much so. Like, I think, and this is a personal theory of mine, personal thoughts, is that women were always like a hive-minded creatures in our ancestral past. They were always communitarian because they were always gathering, fruits and such for the tribe. They were always working around together and communicating while the men were out hunting and killing stuff. So they were always communitarian to some extent and always hive-minded. But now, through the inventions of social media and feminism, that shit has been kicked into absolute fucking overdrive at this point. The hive mind, the collective, hive mind of women is, on a scale unimaginable at this point. And this causes serious, serious problems when, let's say like you're dating a girl and she's got like a couple of hoish friends. That is a really, really bad look and can really, really easily, lead her into doing extremely bad behavior, especially early in the relationship when you don't have that kind of like relationship equity built up to actually like enforce some severe boundaries. Like it's tough these days, especially like with the younger girls, to enforce a boundary and then all of her girlfriends would just say, oh well, he's toxic, he's abusive, you should leave him immediately.
Dude, 1 plus 1 is two. If she got a hoe friend, she a hoe too. Like at a fucking certain point, again with my current girl, my favorite thing about her is she doesn't have any hoe friends, except she got one. But that hoe friend is the one who introduced us, and she's dating someone, dating in quotes right now.
Well,
So she's
yeah.
not being a huge
that's a
hoe.
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
So
and I very much set the boundary of like, you know, if this girl was single, like I don't want you going out with her because she's gonna shack up with some guy and leave you at a club by your fucking self.
yeah,
Like, not only from a hoe perspective, but also from a safety perspective.
yeah,
She's the type of girl they're gonna go out, go downtown, have some drinks, and then this other girl's gonna go fuck some dude and leave my girl stranded. So I'm like, don't do that. Like, go out with the
yeah.
other friend. Your other friends are great. Most of them are married or in long term relationships or engaged. Fucking hang
Yeah,
out with them.
it's
They're
it's
good.
honestly it's honestly amazing at this point the delusion so many girls go into at this point, especially like for stuff like that safety question you were bringing up earlier. It's just honestly amazing the kinds of situations they could put themselves into because of the indoctrination of power girl fantasies and stuff like that, thinking that the world isn't dangerous and things can't go wrong for you or whatever the situation might be. And we were mentioning before, of course, just trying to enforce a boundary can land you in the hot water if her friends, aren't down for it. I swear to God, man, it's honestly, I mean, I understand why they do it, but it's still just so mind-boggling to me that like girls who are tight friends, like in a friend group and everything like that, if one of their girls like locks down like a really good dude, the rest of them will literally just pull apart that relationship just to smite the other girl because she's doing better than them. It's fucking amazing.
No,
It's
absolutely fucking true. And it's such a damn shame. And that's why it may even be one of the main qualities you got to look for. Again, if we're going back to our theme of quantifying certain things, having non ho friends matters so fucking much. Like having a healthy relationship with friends and family is such a green flag. Like
mhm.
if you can get both of those things, that means the fucking world. And it doesn't mean the world on the first date, and it doesn't mean the world whenever the first time you fuck. But if you want to lock down this girl, if she has a family that loves her but isn't fucking up her ass, and if she has friends that are cool but aren't fucking hoes, that I don't know if I'm swearing too much for the YouTube
No, 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 you're
algorithm.
fine. You're
Okay,
fine. I think I
okay.
think it's I think it's something like the first like 10 or 15 minutes. Who cares? I mean, we're not monetized yet anyway, which reminds me, I need to do some Steve Turley level shilling here. Everyone, go share the stream. We want to get up to 1,000 subscribers so we can monetize this shit. So go out there, share it far and wide. We passed the magic number of 650 subscribers earlier this week. So everyone get out there, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, go come listen to the man's hour. But continue.
I just subscribed you in another tab. So there you go.
How the fuck were you not subscribed? What's wrong with
You're
you?
up to 615 because this is a fucking alt account on my
No,
YouTube
yeah. All right,
because I'm
fine.
a pussy about things. But anyway, um, no, getting back to qualities. Ho friends matters. Healthy family matters. What else have we talked about? Attractiveness, homemaking.
Well,
Here's another. Well,
well,
go
one
ahead.
thing I wanted to tap on the friends thing. Do you think this has something to do with the fact that I don't want to necessarily say like yeah, better is a shitty word for it, but maybe you come up with a better word. But you notice the phenomenon of girls that almost have exclusively guy friends and don't have very many girlfriends?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, again, the hoe friend my girlfriend has, the one hoe friend has all fucking guy friends, as we know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of like you kind of got to strike a balance there because you can have like a lot of guy friends because guys are quite frankly just better than chicks for most purposes, like in your everyday life and everything like that. And chicks are an absolute handful. I know well we were just at a wedding together a couple weeks back and the girl that we knew that got married there had almost exclusively guy friends. She wasn't a hoe, and stuff like
Yup.
that. So there's like different reasons for that. So you got to kind of strike a balance. But I would generally say if you do have like mostly guy friends, that generally is like kind of a red flag because let's be honest, guys just want to fuck like all the time. So if you're putting yourself in that kind of situation, as it were, and set yourself up to, much more likely chance of you being, ran through by a bunch of dudes.
Absolutely. And again, the girl whose wedding we were at never fucked any of us, was a cool as fuck chick. I mean, is a cool as fuck chick. We love her. Again, the girl who, my girl's friends with the hoe, she's fucked half the dudes in our friend group. And
Yep.
that's not an exaggeration.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
literally
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. And
and it's
she's so bad, dude.
she's so bad.
Like
She's
she's
so
fun.
bad.
She's a good friend. She's fun to hang out with and stuff. But oh my god, like
Oh,
on the
this
art
goes into
on the RPG scale of a woman, she would be like literally a zero.
Well, I saw someone in your comments talk about like what do you someone had postulated the question, what do you think is an ideal woman? And someone without a lot of knowledge, apparently, to put it nicely, said, "Oh, well, it's someone who I could be friends with but also have a physical attraction to." And
Who the fuck? Yeah, god
that's
damn,
so
dude. Like
bad
no. Yeah.
because
Yeah. That's
again,
horrible.
the hoe girl, I don't know what else to fucking call her at this point. We're both friends
Yeah.
with. She's a cool hang. She's a lot of fun. She knows what music to play. She can drink. She can talk with the boys. She doesn't get mad if one of us says cunt or like blah blah blah. She is a fucking zero on the dateable scale.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
terrible.
the idea that the type of woman you want to be friends with, if you value those friendships, is the same as the type of woman you want to date, is laughable at best.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Very much so. Hmm. Yeah. So those are some good qualities that we're listing off here. What's another good one that comes to mind to you? Actually, you know what? I got a good one we can talk about. And our friend Amy from Women's Hour actually brought this up on Twitter today when I posted a poll about a healthy sex life. And oh man, the comments under that one, there were some Jesus Christ.
Is this the girl I commented on about blowjob week?
Yes, yes, this is the
Oh,
girl you
word.
commented on Twitter. Yes. Yeah, and Maven, our good friend from across the pond, commented on that thread, and he said, there's a lot of feminine and low T responses under here, and goddamn it, is he right? The comments under that poll were just honestly fucking staggering. Some people were saying like, oh, we're going for quality, not quantity, so a couple times a month for sex. I'm like, dude, that is literally the definition of a sexless marriage, dude. Like, sexless marriage is less than 15 times a year. Now I'm like, what the fuck are you advocating for, my friend? Jesus Christ. Like,
Yeah.
the other thing about that is like the quality of sex is literally 100% reliant on the dude because you lead the
Yes.
entire interaction. So if like the
Yes.
sex sucks, that's your fucking fault. Um,
Absolutely. I've told my current girl a number of times, the only thing you need to be good at is not having a gag reflex.
yeah,
That's
pretty
it.
much.
That's fucking it.
Yeah, yeah.
But and the idea that a couple times a month is a good sex life, neither of us know what it's like to be married with kids. In all fairness, neither of us know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
that's like. That said, if we're talking about myself in a long-term relationship of over a year now. We live close together. It's on average like 4 or 5 times a week, and that's normally like 3 times on the weekend and then a couple times on the weeknights, whatever. That I think is healthy. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be every day. You
Yeah,
know,
no,
sometimes
and, I put that in the poll, like, every day, and, honestly, like, I'm not a fan of that. I would go every other day just because I like sexual tension to build is, you wanna have, like, time in between, to build up to the moments, and then, you can bang a couple times in one day, or something like that. Um
absolutely. And one piece of advice that I have learned that I wish every guy knew: if you know when to not initiate, and it's,
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple times a month and you can tell she's not into it, that is such an invaluable skill,
Mhm,
because this cycle that guys and girls will get into, and a couple friend of mine, the hoe girl we've talked about and her boyfriend who I'm friends with, they've gone into this, and their sex life has been a mess for north of 6 months now. He kept initiating when he could clearly tell she wasn't in the mood. That built resentment in her, and that made her
mhm,
less in the mood, which made
mhm.
him want it more, which made him initiate more. And it's this cycle that people get into. And this isn't so much a quality in women, it's a quality in men that you have to be cognizant of. Maybe this is on your stat sheet. You
Mm,
know when to get it and know when not to.
mhm.
There are going to be a couple days every month when your girlfriend is going to be fucking dry as the Sahara, and it's nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And you
They're
just
they're
gotta
emotional they're
fucking let
emotional
it go.
yeah, dude, they're emotional creatures, man. Like, they're so many times, like, in any situation, like, in a relationship, the guy thinks it's his fault, and, like, it's just 95% of the time not the case, it could literally just be anything,
Dude,
you
it could
know?
have been she fought with her mom earlier that day. It
Yeah.
could have been, this the smallest thing. And if that's happening multiple times a week, obviously that's not acceptable. Either she has to change or you got to leave. But if it's a
Mhm,
couple times a month, like if it's 1 or 2 times a month where you can tell she's in a mood and you're not going to initiate, like that's fine. That
mhm.
is fine. That is okay, and that will help you in the long run. I know that's a bit
Yeah.
of a tangent from where we're at, but
Well,
that's
yeah
something that
well, yeah.
matters, and you see it happening and the issues people have.
Yeah, chicks, they want, like, they want a seducer, they don't want, like, a humping dog, that's so you can't just be wanting it, like, all the time, even though guys literally do want it all the time. You can't just be asking for it all the time, it's basically like, "Come and get it." She'll give you the look, she'll give you the eyes, and you just have to go for it, and don't worry about stupid Me Too shit, you
A
know?
guy should never ask for sex,
Oh, yeah.
especially in a relationship. I have
Mhm.
never once asked my girlfriend if we can have sex or if she will blow me.
Yeah, no, it's
And
a
it
you give her
boggles my
yeah,
mind that some guys do that,
you can't
because
negotiate desire, man. You can't
you can't,
negotiate it.
no, and there is not a single woman on the planet who thinks a guy asking, "Oh, can we have sex tonight?" is hotter or is more likely to get him anything than him, doing something romantic, whatever, texting his bitch, "Yo, bring a bottle of wine and lingerie. I'll see you in an hour."
God, that's such a good tip for the guys in the chat right there. Yes, like giving chicks orders on situations like that is so helpful for you.
Wait till she has a fantastic day. Wait till she's in the bed. If you're not used to doing this and you don't have this frame set up, wait till she's in a great mood. Wait till you two are in a good place. Then text her. I got a bottle of wine. Bring your lingerie. Let's have ourselves a night. And then she'll
Mm.
come over with lingerie, fuck her brains out, have a great night.
Oh my God, she'll be so ecstatic. She'll lose
And
it.
if you do that when you know it'll succeed, whenever, she's in a great mood, you're in a great mood, everything's good, that'll normalize it. So then
Mm,
whenever, even if you guys aren't in this hyper amazing situation, you can still do that. And that'll spark
mm.
you both.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. It's your job, like you're incumbent as the man, to lead the interaction all the way through. Sometimes you might get really, really lucky, on like Valentine's Day or your birthday, and your chick will surprise you. She's in like a sexy get up, and will come over and surprise you. But that is, extremely rare. So cherish those when they come. But most of the time, you are going to have to lead the interaction because you're a man and she's a chick, and it's your job to chase her and her job to, receive you, as it were. So, I
yeah,
think
no,
it's
bad
weird.
bad sex lives are the fault of the husband, boyfriend, whatever. It just
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It's the guy's job to initiate things, and it's the chick's job to, basically just listen and be open to trying new things. It's essentially all you pretty much have to do. it's it's basically it. For a chick, just be open to new things and just listen to what the guy tells you, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. No, absolutely, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, pretty much. All right. Let's see. What are
oh,
we?
I got another quality for you,
All right,
and
go
this is
for it.
obviously in much more long-term relationships, but exhibiting quality is that they will be a good mother. And I got an
Mm,
example for you. Current girl I'm dating works in a very nurturing profession. To me, that is attractive. That means that they know how to nurture, they know how that quality is in them. That is a motherly quality, and for long-term relationships that has to be a major quality is, will you be a good mother to my children? That has
mm,
to matter a lot.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. For sure. You get into really, really creepy territory these days, especially with a lot of the younger girls. There's like a latent like antinatalism going on with them. Like there's just are totally just either horrified of having kids or don't want anything to do with them, or just some of them outright hate kids. It's a serious, serious fucking red flag.
Yeah, that has to be, if looks are the foundation, it if you find out that they're not sure about having kids, you have to nail that down, and if they won't give you an answer, you got to leave.
Mm,
That's what I did. She said she
yeah.
wasn't sure, so I nailed it down, and I was ready to walk out that door that same day. And you have to be, if you want kids, which I'm assuming
Mhm.
most guys do. Most
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
especially in your sphere, seem to eventually, if not now, but eventually want to have sons and daughters and raise them to be you know good minded, strong individuals
Yeah.
who
Functional right wing adults. Yeah.
yeah, who follow our traditions and the things we believe in. I think most people in your spheres want to have kids eventually. I know that's not anything on the table for you anytime soon, but I certainly could see you whenever you're
Yeah.
like 45, dude, marrying a 35-year-old or 30-year-old and start having kids. Um,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
almost suspect that will be your path.
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely going to, marry and date younger. There's absolutely no question. Outside of that, that's absolutely 100% set in stone. And honestly, like the hardcore, looking for marriage and kids stuff, not even for at least the next like 5 years. Is that really going to be seriously on my radar here? And at that point, that's when we're going to start screening for, like young 20s girls to fulfill that need. So
Dude,
we'll
we're
see.
not we're in our mid to late 20s right now. I got all the time in the world.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is a nice place to be. Um, as a male, obviously your timetables, you have so much more flexibility with it. Um, I guess a more minor stat, a more minor quality, quantity, whatever you want to call it, that we could bring up is their life position, which includes age. At, where are they at in their quote unquote career? Where are they at quote unquote age wise in relation to you? Things like that matters. Are they a 22-year-old, you know, caretaker in some sort of profession? Like that is the greenest flag in the world. But if
mm,
they're already 31 and say they're a fucking attorney and
nope.
they're trying to make partner, some people may want that. Not for fucking me. I work in a high stress, high reward profession. I don't need a partner who does that. You know, it's yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like I think what we're also touching on here is another good quality here is like does your chick respect you? Does your chick look up to you? Does she admire you? Does she respect your male authority as well? Like does your chick trust you with your trust her with your life, basically. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm getting at, it's
No,
like
absolutely.
mhm.
You can't, like, unless a family member dies, I don't believe you should ever cry in front of your bitch.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
ever,
100% true.
ever. If it's at
100%
a
true.
funeral, do what you need to do. Don't care. In a normal day-to-day environment, like, no. If you need
Women aren't equipped to deal with your problems, and that's the absolute fact of the matter.
If they're
Yeah.
not, take a fucking day, leave her place, go somewhere else, go to your bro's place, do what you need to do, drink a bottle of Jack, fucking cry, break a fucking punch through a wall, and then go back there and be a man to her. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
be doing that in front of her. It will ruin your frame with her.
Yeah,
It
it
truly
just
will.
it immediately ruins the dynamic of the relationship for multiple reasons. Number one, the chick doesn't feel safe. Number two, she gets resentful towards you because it's basically you dumping your problems onto her. It's kind of like imagine it in the same context as let's say like you got a friend who's like halfway across the country and is complaining and bitching to you about something that's going on, in his office or something like that. And he's just bitching to bitch. It's basically the exact same thing because you can't do anything about the situation. You're just hearing you complain about it. And it's literally the same thing with your girl and your relationship because, your woman can't fix your problems for you. It's not what she's designed for. She has no concept of your experience of the world. Men and women are completely different in this regard. We see the world differently. Our brains are wired differently. Yeah, your woman's not equipped to deal with your problems. That's what you have male friends for.
Yeah, absolutely. I will fucking go hang out with you and drink and get out what I need to if I need to get something out. Um, in that same vein, something that I think is critically undervalued in women, and this kind of goes with what I said earlier, knowing when to shut the fuck up. Uh, Huge value there, but also knowing how to not bitch every day. We talked about my previous relationship, the girl that you fucking hated and pretty much all my friends hated. She would call me every day after work and bitch about her work and how she hated her job. And it is
Yeah.
so critically undervalued to have a partner who does not complain. No one likes complainers. No one likes someone who goes through every day bitching about something. That is both advice to men and something to look for in your woman. Do not participate in, and do not deal with consistent complaining.
Well, I think that, well, I mean, there's always going to be some degree with it with any woman, just because that's what they are. They complain because that's what they do. But there's a difference between them always making it an issue and making your life difficult. Like, basically, I can summarize this up as: does a woman give you peace? It's literally like her primary function, basically, aside from being super attractive in your relationship. Does your woman bring your peace? That's it.
Yeah, I think that that absolutely is a great. I think that bringing peace, homemaking, attractiveness, motherly qualities. Um, those are four characteristics that have to be, four of the most critical. I don't know if we want to add previous healthy relationships with friends and family in there. I don't know if that's more a subset of other ones that has to be in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely up there. I mean, it's kind of like a hard thing you can screen for, especially say, for example, like her family's halfway across the country. Like, basically, if the chick is treating you well and doing all the things that you want to do in your life, that's all that's outside your purview because it's all that you can really control. If she has like a shitty relationship with her sister or something like that, like, okay, is it causing problems in your relationship? Well, there's nothing you can do about it, so why do you stress out about it?
No, I agree with that to an extent. I do think if a girl has a bad relationship with her parents, especially her father, that's a red flag because there's probably something else there. And either it's a problem with her, in which case that problem will extend to you, or it was a problem with him, in which case it'll fuck with her psychologically enough that it'll likely extend to you. Like, I do think having a bad relationship with your parents has to be considered as a red flag and a big detriment. I mean,
Yeah,
again, if you have a perfect frame, it won't matter, but who has a perfect frame?
yeah, yeah. Well, I think the other thing that needs to be added to this conversation as well here is that there's no such thing as a perfect woman. So absolutely every fucking chick, no matter who she is going to have some red flag to some degree. She's got a tattoo on her wrist or something, or had a bad relationship at some point, or she's got a hoe friend or something like that. There's always going to be a red flag somewhere. Basically, what it is, like we were mentioning with the D&D like RPG scale, as it were, it's just basically min-maxing and balancing out, what is the most important. And this is where frame comes in for you as a man. Like, what are you looking for, in your life? Me right now, like, I spin plates, so I don't really give a rat's ass what the chick's, relationship with her family is right now. It doesn't matter to me. It's just what is inside my purview. Is she treating me right? Is she's falling into what I want her to do, and things like that. Obviously, my qualities are going to change when I'm looking for a different, relationship goals, as it were. But yeah, so you basically just have to understand what you want as a man, what your life is looking like. Maybe you don't want kids at all. Maybe it's not something you want to do. So obviously, if the chick is good with kids or not, maybe that's a red flag. But who cares? Because you don't want kids. So why does it matter?
Yeah, I think this goes back to, this even strengthens the analogy of, this is an RPG and we're looking to build our woman, our character, whatever you want to call it, in a certain way. We all do on different things. And there's
Yeah.
some things every, red-blooded male would agree on, like they need to not be fat, they need to be attractive, they need to, be a good homemaker, blah 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 blah. And
Big
then there's other
boobs.
things.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's and again, actually, let's use that as a segue because I know we don't have a ton of time left. And whenever we were talking about the idea for this video, we were talking about, critical things and then important that you have critical things like, are they attractive? You have important things like, are their friends not hoes? And then you have the fun things. And if you're
Yeah.
fine with it, I'd like to talk about the fun things. These are the
Go for
things
go for
like
it.
blue camo in Call of Duty back in the day. These are the things where it does it, you don't need it, but man, are they great. Like if you have a chick who is a good homemaker, good mother, she's thin, she has a nice ass, like she's already a winner. And then if she has big tits, or then if she gives great head, like that's bonus. That is
Yeah,
straight bonus.
absolutely.
And those qualities, man, they make the bad days a lot easier.
Yeah.
You
It's just
don't need them, but
no.
oh man, does it help?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. Like as far as it relates to like if we were mentioning before like about the sex thing, like uh, you could teach a chick to be good at this kind of stuff, so it's a bonus if she already comes like how should I say this, like kind of pre-packaged to some extent, like she's already like I don't know, she's already level 10 on her blowjob skills. You don't have to work her way up, so like that can be a bonus depending on what you want out of your your life and your situation. But yeah, it definitely is a bonus. And I mean, plastic surgery exists too, so that's an option for you as well, should you want to do that, but again, this is why I always stress that frame is, the essence of being a man. It's just having the absolute control, owned space, as BAP would call it. It's that's what it is. You carve out a little niche for yourself in the world, and everything in there is under your control, your purview. Everything outside of it is, not important to you. You don't stress out about it because you can't control it. But you know what? If you have a chick who, has a flat chest, does everything else right for you, is totally in your frame, and it's a little something you might want to add, you know what? Who am I to say, go pay for the surgery? Who am I to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, and you don't need to have everything be perfect.
Oh
Again,
yeah, of
if
course
if
not.
we are doing a point distribution to certain qualities, you're going to pick what you want. It's important to identify what you want, and it's important to identify what you need even more so. There are
Mm,
certain things like you need to have a base level of, let's say, 80%, ability, proficiency, whatever you want to call it, to be a good mother if you are looking for a mother for your kids. There are basic things that everyone needs to have a level of attractiveness they find, attractive.
mm.
Um, but yeah, and then there are the very fun things.
Here, you know,
Here's a quality that we talked about probably a couple weeks ago. If a chick is bisexual, is that a pro or a con?
I remember this
And I want
conversation.
to hear your response again to it. And for the record, I am not referring to the pride flag waving,
Yeah, yeah, get
rah
out of here.
rah
Yeah,
LGBT
no.
LGBT bisexual. I am referring
Yeah.
to a chick who, has made out with some girls at some parties and is down. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, again, we do have to qualify that, like, no, we are not talking about the alphabet people. We are just talking about, and this is opinion that I've stressed before online and everything else like this, is that, basically women's sexuality is way, way, way more fluid than men are. And the reason for this is that in our ancestral past, most women were taken as war brides, and they were shared by the top men. And guess what? That top man was not sharing, his women with other men. So the women, got involved together, as it were, with their man at the same time. So this is something that is built into, I would argue, almost every single woman, to some extent, that this switch can be, flipped on, so to speak. Um, I would say that you kind of want if this is something you're into, you want to have a chick who's at least open to the idea, and that means like she respects you and you have to lead her through the interaction and everything like that. I would say I would very much caution a chick who wears this as a label. It's something like you kind of have to like tease out of them to get them to go for it. But if this is something they open with, or if is this something they're really like, talk about all the time, that's generally like a pretty red flag.
Yeah, I see. I see someone commented 110% con. I mean, as you know, both the tall X I have, the one you find more attractive, and
Mm,
then the pseudo X from my days in school a few years ago. Um, they were both, you know, they were bi. The tall one, her and I had a threesome with another chick. It was a great time. I really don't see how it's a con. Unless they're being an alphabet person, I
yeah,
truly don't see. It's either nothing or you get a threesome and then it's a pro. Like I don't see, and this is presuming you have a decent frame and you're
yeah.
not gonna.
Well, I think that has to be a given because you would not be able to pull off the situation without having one. To be honest, there's just no way. If you're not like have lockstep in your relationship, your chick, quite frankly, is just going to completely spurg out and not have a good time with it and just completely freak out about you inviting another chick into the situation. She's going to get major anxiety about it, and it's going to generally cause way more problems in your life. If you have like a rock solid frame, you could definitely pull this kind of stuff off if you're into that. But like I said, like if you're wearing this kind of thing on your sleeve and you're proudly proclaiming it, and if you're flaunting it like in like kind of like a party situation like that, generally like a pretty bad idea. What you want is, as I said, you could like tease it out of somebody. And the one of my last chicks, I'll type it in the chat here for you. I had a chick who was also, quote unquote, by one of the last chicks. And
That checks out. I just
yeah,
saw the name. That
yeah, yeah,
100%
yeah,
checks out.
yeah, exactly. So that was, something that came up in the conversation in that relationship as well. But yeah, she was somebody I had to tease it out of, but she was definitely, into it basically when it got switched on, so to speak. But like I said, like if you are like one of the alphabet people waving this around, like absolutely not. And that comes with like unattractiveness, blue hair, all that bullshit. Like no, absolutely not. This is a huge problem. But also, like I think this is also, I'm sure it's hard to like kind of quantify this thing because it is such a weird area. It's like if the chick is like really hot, I'd say it's a really big problem because if that makes any sense. Like if the chick is like a 7 or an 8 and you could tease this out of her, this is a good thing. If the chick is like a 9 or a 10, that's like, oh my god, what the hell else has she done at this point? You understand
This
what I'm
goes
getting at?
to our discussion of, seven and eights are far easier to deal
Oh
with
yeah,
than nines and
yeah, this is
tens.
absolutely
This
true.
goes to that discussion of getting somebody who is objectively fucking absolutely gorgeous, sexy 9-10 to fit in your frame
They're way
is
too much to
way
handle, man.
harder
They're
than
difficult as
someone
shit to handle.
who is also very attractive, but who, maybe doesn't wear as much makeup, maybe doesn't have quite as big of tits, blah blah blah. It is so much easier, and it functions so much better
Hmm.
as a 7 or 8 to fit within your frame.
Yeah,
Um,
I think both of us on this point have come to this realization, or this is basically just what you and I are targeting at this point. We basically only go for like 7s and 8s because 9s and 10s are extremely difficult to deal with and they just come with all sorts of other problems. Again, it's like we were saying earlier, there's trade-offs and everything. And if a chick is super hot and super attractive, all the previous relationships she's been in, she hasn't been held to account for literally anything just because, she's so attractive and no other previous man has done anything to reel in all of her bad behavior. So now it's basically on you to basically deprogram all these other bad behaviors. And it's just way too much work in like a good 99% of the cases.
it's
So why would you deal with it?
Yeah, and to deal with it, you need to be perfect. And
Yeah.
you and I both know a good deal. Neither of us are perfect. To deal with somebody who's dead ass at 10, you have to have everything in your life order, and you in order, and you have to be on top of it all the time. And some guys are like that. There is a very fringe minority, the 1% of the 1%. God bless them, but
Mm,
absolutely the fuck not. I will openly admit that is not for me. I'm not capable of that. I will take my girl who I think is hot, who call her an 8, call her whatever you want. I'm more than happy. Um,
Yeah, very much so. There was unless you have something else to say on this topic, I did have one more thing I wanted to bring up here,
No,
and
no, go ahead.
we mentioned this before on a call some time ago. It actually might have been we were in person a couple weeks back at this wedding. I think we might have talked about this. It's like if your girl behaves really well in like social settings with your like close friends and stuff like that, and like doesn't she she has to fit into your world, and that means fitting into your world like with your friends and everything like that. So does she cause drama in social situations with other people that you're real close friends with? Because like in the past, everybody knows the story of you have a really good friend and the guy gets with a chick and then somehow you never see the guy again. The guy's just always off with the girl. And that's a huge problem. The chick's supposed to be entering your life, your world, getting on your program. It's ridiculous to suggest that you have to throw your lifestyle to the wind basically because your chick is having an anxiety attack or something. Funny how all these instances of anxiety always pop up when you want to go hang out with your bros.
No, absolutely correct. The distinguishing part of that, I would say, is that comes back to the guy. If we're
Oh yeah.
talking about qualities, women we want them to have, want them not to have, etc. Dealing with that is a flaw in the man, and you just
I think
can't deal
I
with
think
it.
I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm more talking about like so I'll use an example with your current chick.
Okay.
Let's say I think this was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, when we all got together for
Oh,
a
yep,
party on a boat, and your
yep,
chick decided to get really, really drunk.
yep.
But then she adjusted that behavior in the future. So that's what I'm more so what I'm getting at is kind of like is she gonna adjust to that circumstance in the future? You understand what I'm saying? Maybe I'm not wording it properly, but I'm not really talking so much about like the guy holding the chick accountable or him just having the balls to basically just say no, I'm going out with my friends and you're going to deal with it. I'm more so talking about like is she sociable in those
Yeah.
kinds of situations?
Well,
Can
yeah.
you walk away from your chick at like a party with like other friends and basically just trust her to fit in and have a fun time, and you don't have to like be standing over her the whole time to take care of her?
Yeah, well, going back to your example, my chick, fucking a little over a year ago, we were all on the boat. We got off. She got way too drunk. And, I took care of her that night. Kind of sucked.
Mhm.
You know, didn't say anything that night. She was way too drunk. A couple days later, we're talking. I'm like, yo, you got too drunk. She was like, I know. I was like, that's fine. It happens. That can't happen normally. I'm like, if that happens once a year, fuck, sure, go ahead. I was like, if that happens again in the next couple months, we're going to have a big, big problem. And I have never seen her throw up since. I've never seen her gotten to the point where she's drunk enough to throw up since. It's been over a year now.
Mm,
That was
yeah.
last August. So
No, absolutely. Your girl has been on very, very good behavior the last like several times that we've been hanging out and stuff like that. And as I mentioned, and when we got together a couple weeks ago, and I pulled you to the side. I said, okay, yeah, this girl is absolutely my favorite that you've had at this point. She and I had really good interactions at that wedding, and at that point, it was like, okay, yeah, this is going very, very good. I 100% approve of the situation for sure.
yeah, dude. I did see someone asked, how do you two meet women cold approach the internet? I was typing out, we were in college together. And in a college town, it's fucking easy. Like if you're in a
Yeah, it's very
college
easy.
town in college or even out of college and living in a college town, it's shooting fish in a barrel if you have the minimum amount of money and or game. Um, that said, I'm a very broad social circle person.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, it's been largely friends of friends. Whether it's
Mm-hmm.
been this chick, the chick from DC who's a friend of a friend,
Oh my
you
God,
know,
that girl.
uh, you know, or for me, my secondary, post college education as well. Um, I largely stay away from the dating apps and internet. You in the city you're in, which is not as much of a college town, you are on the apps more than me. Um, I do think where you are matters for what is the most conducive way to meet women.
Yeah, if
But
I've generally said for a long time that cold approach 9 times out of 10 is absolutely gonna be your best bet, or so I mean, ideally social circle game because that's how just most people,
dude, social
meet women.
circles, friends of friends, that is
Yeah, that's
so
ideally the best way to do it.
absolutely the best way.
Yeah, and then, like, a secondary would be, like, something like a cold approach, and then third, like, a distant third would be online, and y honestly, online is getting really, really saturated at this point, and the markets are basically falling apart on that front, so unless you have, like, really, really good, professionally taken photos and you know how to text game very well, it's not worth your time. So, yeah.
Real quick before we're done, can we talk about Adam Levine's text game
You know,
on his
oh my
Instagram
god.
DMs?
You
This is
know,
in the news now.
I'm
The
not gonna
biggest
lie.
story is not him having a mistress. It's the fact that his text game for a man as objectively attractive and successful as him is just saying, "Oh, you're so beautiful. I can't believe this." Blah, dude, that's fucking unreal.
Yeah, it basically, I don't know too much about the story. I've seen a bunch of memes come out from it, and I saw his like text game. I'm like, once you get to like that like certain level of status, like you just don't have to be good at it. I mean, like for him, he fucked it up obviously because the chick went and ratted him out. So obviously he fucked up on that front. Like an
Yeah.
absolute dolt. But
Oh,
like so many of these guys at the top, they put up a front. Like most of them don't have to be super good because they can over index in other things. Like I mean, how many like comedians or rappers and stuff are like ugly as shit, but they pull like nines and tens all the time? It's because they're over indexing in other things like status or money or whatever the hell it is. So yeah, you don't have to be necessarily lockstep if you got the other things figured out. But if you're on like a dating app or a profile like that, you're not going to be able to flex on that kind of level, like your money and stuff like that, because they're basically just going off of like looks and pictures and how good are you at texting to get them into in person.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, 100%. Dude, hitting apps suck.
yeah, they're fucking terrible. Yeah, by
You
and
know,
large, they're
I don't see a reason for me to ever get back on them, even if me and my girl end things. I will, there's a couple of massive universities near me. I will go to the
mm,
bar, there's bars near there. That's that. I would much rather deal with that than I would the swiping, the talking, and you can't distinguish yourself on dating apps nearly
yeah.
unless you're a Greek god gorgeous guy, and God bless those people.
The kind of
Um,
people that BAP posts like on his
yeah,
profile.
yeah. If you're not that, oh no, you're not that. If you go to a bar, are not bad looking, are well dressed, especially in a college town, and you're in your late 20s and you have money, it's shooting fish in a barrel. It is
Yeah,
not fucking hard.
here's the other thing, like, and I say this all the time, like, if you're doing like social circle stuff or cold approach, your competition is just absolutely so pathetic, guys. Like, especially you younger guys, like the Zoomers. I'm honestly amazed that like Zoomers get literally anything done, dude. Like, I don't see them work for shit, and I see them like barely be able to talk. I'm honestly amazed that they're able to do anything. So if you just like separate yourself just a little bit from the rest of the your competition, dude, you're gonna hit it out of the park, man. Especially considering that 75% of your competition is overweight or obese. So if you're just literally like in the gym and can hold a decent conversation with people, dude, I'd imagine you'd be able to slay right now if you're a young guy coming up in the game.
Yeah, yeah. It's while the degradation of Western society happens all around us, and we see fat chicks, fat dudes, you know, doing whatever they want with their genders, and figuring all that, doing all that stuff. The best part is that makes your competition so fucking weak.
Yeah,
There are,
exactly.
especially like once you get past high school, I feel like will always be high school. You have the football players, and
Yeah,
not
yeah.
everyone's a football player, blah blah blah. But once you get into your mid 20s, that's whenever understanding shit matters so much more.
Oh yeah.
And it's absolutely incredible how much easier things are being
Yeah,
in your mid
it
to late
only
20s. That if only we knew this when we were
Oh
20, dude.
yeah, dude,
If only we were knew
it
this.
only gets easier if you're a guy,
Yeah.
only. Like you start at 0 and it only gets easier and a chick basically starts at 1,000,000 and it basically just goes backwards.
Yep.
But like once school is just such a completely artificial environment and everything. And once you actually get out into the real world, you actually start getting a decent job and you know how to talk to people, it only gets easier, man. Especially if you're a guy who, is not on the same timetable as women. like if you're in your 30s or even in your 40s, if you got your shit together, you can easily date 20-year-old chicks. It's been that way since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else you want to bring up, dude?
No, I enjoy this. I felt a lot less, rigid than I did on the last podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously
I
we'll
mean, we
keep
have
doing.
these conversations also
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
weekly anyway.
I mean, it's nice because I mean, we've got a pretty tight friend group of like 6 or 7 dudes, and it's interesting because like you and I are the most switched on in that group by far, and then I guess we could kind of say we have like 2 guys or like maybe halfway switched on afterwards, and then like 2 guys who are completely in the fucking dark at the other end of it.
Dude,
So
it's
it's
yeah.
interesting to see.
For context, there's 6 of us in our inner circle. There are 2 others in relationships. One is the one whose chick bought a house, and that's a clusterfuck. He's pretty switched on though. And the other one's just fucking hopeless.
Oh my god.
He thinks he's gonna move 2 hours away, and his chick's gonna stay
Oh,
loyal.
oh,
And
oh my god. Oh my god.
spoiler, already
Uh,
found out she hasn't. Don't
uh,
do a long distance relationship
I mean,
unless you know it's gonna end within a couple
yeah.
months. It's never worth it. Fucking the idea.
I think we talked.
It's a damn shame.
I think we even talked about that relationship on the last stream we had together. But yeah, like
Probably. We knew it
yeah,
was gonna end then,
yeah,
and it's only gotten
shocker.
worse since.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's honestly just amazing. But like you can't red pill your friends, man. It's just not possible. You have to be screwed over by a woman in order to become red pill. There's just absolutely no way
You
around it.
have to have that happen. 100%.
Yeah.
You were there whenever I was walking across our college campus carrying a bunch of my shit that I had over at her place, and I looked like I was a defeated man at the bottom of my life.
Oh, dude, we were both terrible,
You
man.
were
We both had so many fuck ups.
you saw
Oh
that,
my god.
and
Yeah,
Lord knows that, oh God, being fucking in your 20s, you have such little knowledge and understanding of things, and then 5 years pass and you're like, it's all so easy. It's all so
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. Honestly, it really is. Like, I might tell you a story like off air here or something about this current situation. I've been talking about this on Twitter though about
Yeah, the what, Korean, not Korean, what the fuck is
the
she?
Singapore chick
Singapore,
is
yes.
the current one
You're
that I'm
sure
talking
she's not a
about.
dude, right?
No, I'm positive. I'm positive. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
honestly just amazing. Like when you date a chick who's like not from the West and just how completely different everything is, and like oh man, like the global reconnaissance is definitely something that's going to start happening, especially when you and I go to Europe next year and stuff like that. It's definitely something that's on my radar, and oh man, it's.
Yeah.
American women fucking suck, man. They're terrible. They're really, really bad. And that once you get a taste of like the foreign fruit, as it were, it's just so much better. Um, all right. Anything else you got, man?
No, that's about it. I've really enjoyed this discussion. I'm gonna get ready. Watch some football tonight, finish off the work week tomorrow, and then, as I've told you, this is my first fucking weekend in 3 months where I'm not traveling or moving. And
Yeah,
I'm just gonna enjoy my house, dude. It's nice to be a homeowner now. It's nice to own some land. I'm gonna
yeah, for
fucking
sure.
enjoy it. The woman's going home to hang out with her parents, so it'll just be me fucking
Mm.
vibing. So I'm sure we'll talk this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be busy on Saturday, but yeah, definitely hit me up and we'll have a talk for sure. But yeah, all right. Shillings, I'll get that out of the way. Go follow this jackass on Twitter if you want. You can go see
Oh
us.
no.
You can go see us yell back and forth to each other. It's actually really funny because I see some guys on there like want to dunk on you and stuff like that, like thinking like you're some like noob or
Please,
something like that.
please.
I'm like no, this guy's
I'll just go through their profile and I'll find something to absolutely roast them for.
Yeah. I'm enjoying our Twitter back and forth. I laugh like pretty much every single time. It's kind of like an inside joke that the two of us have that nobody else gets, and it's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
It,
Like we're
it,
trolling everybody else. So,
it's
um,
fun, my man.
but yeah. So any other shillings I'll get out of the way. Okay. So yeah, Man's Hour on Thursdays. I'm gonna get back into writing on Substack and all that stuff. Now that the summer has ended here and the snows are gonna be falling pretty damn soon. So I'll be stuck inside again. So I'll start doing that some more. If you guys missed my appearance that I did with Dave, the distributist, that was last week. It was a fantastic conversation that Dave and I had, and Dave's a pretty good guy. Also, check out the interview I did on Geo's Content Minded. Me and Ryan Stone went on that channel, and that was also a great conversation. And just keep an eye out on the channel for more stuff coming up. So be well, guys.
See you, pussy.